2008, one of the worst financial crises ever since the Great Depression, marking the fall of Wall Street icon, investment banking giant Lehman Brothers. But while the repercussions were grave across the globe, India managed to keep its growth story intact, recording a 6.7% growth in 2008-2009, going up to 8.6% in 2009-2010, and clocking 9.3% in the following year annual growth rate. But as the world was working hard, trying to cope with the economic turmoil, back home, by the time the UPA began its second run, the Indian story was beginning to turn sour as well.
Manmohan Singh do swear.
Rocked by a series of scams, plagued with total policy paralysis, the world watched in disbelief as the world's largest democracy went into a spiral. In 2014, people voted for change, resulting in a majority mandate after 3 decades. The new Prime Minister spelling out development and economic growth as his topmost priority. One of the fastest growing markets, the world had its eye on India and its newly elected government.
First, India has always been a promising destination. I think with the appointment of the stable government, the attractiveness has certainly increased. FIIs, short-term FIIs have been strong in terms of in the equity as well as the debt markets. I think what has helped is there's already a credible central bank, then there's been a stable rupee, the financial system as a whole, macro stability has been in place. And now with the new government, I think the overall picture has improved markedly.
Ahead of the 2014 battle, promises were made, and now the countdown has already begun for the new government to lay its blueprint to action and to take the first step towards fulfilling the nation's dreams and aspirations.
Growth has slowed down in the last 2 or 3 years, and it is imperative that our GDP growth rate be accelerated very rapidly. Overall, there should be a strong growth-oriented government, and the fiscal deficit containment, which may be required because of the incentives to be provided, should be managed through privatization and disinvestment.
With just days to go before the new government unveils its budget, the signs are positive and anticipation is sky high. Will it be a budget that can woo global investors? Will Modi's team be able to ensure roadblocks are minimized?
There is a great deal of promise as to what is likely to happen, but until and when, and we've seen the budget and we've seen an actionable set of policies over a specific time period with specific sums of money, I think it is a little bit premature to announce that we are now entering a bullish period. What has happened is very, very important. There is a clear mandate to the government to really dramatically change the country. But we have to see how this is going to be done.
However, the numbers tell a different story. While the stock markets have risen to a new record, India has attracted foreign institutional investment worth 1 lakh crore in 2014, with majority flowing in since Modi government took charge, only reflecting multiple challenges that the NDA government is staring at.
India was viewed potentially, there was like a good potential for investment. I think what has held the major investors back is lack of clarity in terms of policy, regulation, framework. On the smaller bits on, contractual, executive in place. We've also, one is often mentions about ease of doing business and how India doesn't rank too well on it. But I think the new government has brought in that kind of optimism that will bring, or rather encourage, the foreign investors to look back in. But it will take time for the interest to turn into real money, in terms of flows.
The major obstacle which India has been facing is on the policy front, directly affecting the ease of doing business in India, creating a hurdle for investors across the border.
I think it's absolutely important that the government goes beyond the short-term measures and looks at how it can stimulate investment and low growth. International investors particularly, and as well domestic investors, are really anxious to see the signs, to see the indications that can cause them to unlock the investment that they have and they want to invest in India.
Also, in comparison to other lucrative investment destinations, India presently ranks lowest in World Banking rating at 134, lower than China, Russia and even Brazil, also sliding 3 notches lower than its rating in 2013.
But I think we have to move beyond what the short-term institutional investors are as well. I think the focus should be on the more durable foreign investors, and I think they will also increasingly look in once the reform agenda is rolled out. But the initial signs from the government has also been quite welcoming. So I think the outlook, there's work to be done, but the outlook is promising.
He has been showcasing the Gujarat model, where he successfully implemented a single license window. He claimed he would implement it across the nation. Will Narendra Modi be able to keep his word?
The government has a clear mandate and they have 5 years in front of them. We feel that they could take some strong measures starting with this budget. That expectation is clearly baked into the market numbers right now, and we would look forward to that.
Addressing the retrospective tax situation, which has been hugely damaging for India over the past few years, and also addressing direct taxation. So the fiscal and taxation questions go hand in hand.
The Indian economy, which has lucrative markets for consumption, has been held back due to a matrix of reasons, be it land acquisition norms, or taxation, or contract enforcement. Investors have shied away in the past due to lack of a smoother, simpler freeway to big-ticket projects.
The overall performance of the Sensex has been clearly across the board. In other words, people bought India as an overall concept. Clearly, if the budget has very specific infrastructure policies and investment, then clearly companies that have to do with telecommunications, with engineering, with construction, with cement, with steel, will be the favorable ones to look. But as I said, we have to wait to see the specific program.
Clearly, it's not just foreign institutional investment. India's consumer story, coupled with high saving rate, has attracted many retail giants to the subcontinent. But a lot is yet to be done to insulate India to encash on foreign direct investment.
FDI and liberalising the economy is also extremely important. Showing that India is open for business is going to be an extremely powerful message that can be given by this government.
But it has come with its own set of hurdles. Giants like Walmart have witnessed a controversial entry, with allegations of bribing surfacing in certain reports, while others like Carrefour, world's second largest retail chain, is mulling an exit.
You can't say one moment, yes, we will open, and then say, actually, no, we won't. In other words, what has been worrying FDI is not whether India is or is not welcoming foreign investment, but once policies are in place, you know that is going to be the regime of policies you will be operating under for the next decade.
And that's where the finance minister could be caught in a catch-22 situation. It's not a secret that the NDA has vehemently opposed FDI in multi-brand retail in the past, with the UPA trying its best to push it through.
Back in the manifesto, the BJP manifesto, there was a mention that retail sector FDI might not be in focus. But I think broadly, the otherwise targeting the middle class, there's going to be more emphasis on, say, financial, products like insurance. There are also going to be FMCGs, on auto. So on even for the business sector, there can be emphasis on infrastructure as well as power capabilities. So across the board, interest is likely. It does depend on where the focus of the new government will be in terms of which sectors will be given priority to be opened up.
The decision to follow FDI in multi-brand retail remains a controversial one, especially with BJP's commitment to the neighborhood local stores and single brand entities.
Probable benefit in GDP growth through FDI and multi-brand retail is not very high. It will be good if they do it. But since BJP had taken a stand, I don't expect this will be changed.
But at the same time, at the helm of affairs is a Prime Minister who has shown to be flexible if it boosts the economy. He did so for Gujarat. Will he replicate the model for the entire nation?
I think markets have great expectations from the coming budget, and it could be a landmark budget of the type that we have seen in the past. We are expecting that several reform measures may be undertaken. Even if apart from that, I think that roadmap for economic recovery also may be put into place. So yes, market has lots of expectations.
With promises and a majority mandate, Narendra Modi is also expected to have won the confidence of overseas investors. And the spectrum is not limited to merely FDI in multi-brand retail.
इन दिनों मॉडल की चर्चा होती है, गुजरात मॉडल.
If the BJP-led government aims to clear roadblocks in investment, FDI is likely to gain momentum in major infrastructure areas like energy, roads and ports. What remains to be seen is whether the new government is able to unleash reforms to attract FDI to reboot a stagnant economy.
I think, first of all, the budget should be growth-oriented. It should have incentives for consumers, it should have incentives for manufacturers, and any fiscal deficit containment in the budget should be through disinvestment.
The government might put on paper major economic reforms, but it can't function independently if it is aiming to attract high foreign investment. It will not only have to find a solution to balance the rupee rate, but also deal with the inflation from the increased liquidity flowing into the system.
Foreign investors, I think, money is on the sidelines looking for the development to take place, and once the reform agenda kicks into action, we can see more and more investors looking in. There's been already news of some sovereign wealth funds expressing interest, money already in and more expressing interest. So these are all add to the broader optimism on the economy.
For the finance minister, challenges are many. India's major competitor on a global stage is China, and if numbers are to be believed, a lot is yet to be done. In 2013, China attracted FDI of $250 billion. India, meanwhile, lagged behind at a meager $30 billion. For Arun Jaitley, FDI could clearly be one of the toughest balancing acts in an already sinking economy and in the wake of stagnant growth.
India is a sovereign state. The Indian government can do whatever it wants. But of course, doing whatever it wants doesn't necessarily mean is that what foreign investors would like it to do, which is an altogether different issue. No one is telling the Indian government what to do.
On one hand, the Prime Minister has already hinted at a bitter pill to cure the floundering state of economy. Finance Minister has ruled out a rethink on FDI in retail, not once, but several times in the last year, when the UPA was trying to push it through. However, he has also made it clear that immediate and stern steps must be taken to rebuild the investment cycle.
I agree that Arun Jaitley, Finance Minister, can make other measures, make other announcements in relation to giving encouragement to the investing community. Indications on FDI, direction on travel in areas like e-commerce, in areas like defense, in areas like infrastructure, will send very powerful messages as to the direction of travel this government will have.
Bolstering FDI and in turn increasing the foreign investments will not just make India an attractive destination for global giants, but will also improve the employment rate and create a pool of skilled labor which global investors could be targeting at.
Implementation of the various policies, there's tremendous opportunity in new policies that can help growth. Implementation is very important.
The stage is set for Prime Minister and his team, and there is an appetite for emerging market assets as the global players are viewing the new government as a capable pro-reform administration. But will they be able to encash on it?
There are huge expectations riding on this government, and now the budget is the biggest catalyst coming up for the Indian markets. We feel that the budget will really engender a lot of structural reforms and overall good news directionally for the Indian economy.
Will the Modi government that is being viewed as industry-friendly soften its stand on FDI? Will the Modi government adopt tougher measures in the coming budget? Will they bite the bullet to spur the much-needed investments?
Addressing the retrospective tax situation, which has been hugely damaging for India over the past few years,